We have been lied to. For many years, I always thought the wendigo looked like this. But it's not even close. And who knows how many other mythos have been wrongly done by their modern depiction. That is why in this video we will be journeying to fix all of these wrong illustrations. And we will be beginning with the wendigo. Okay guys, now I think we all know what the modern day wendigo looks like. It has a deer skull, it's furry, and it's decaying. That is what I grew up knowing. But no, that is not even close to what it actually is. That is why I think we will begin the accurate depiction of it. But we need a little history. The Native Americans, the Algonquin, lived in a very cold place. It was up in Canada, there was snow everywhere. And unfortunately, this made food very scarce during the winter. Since there was no greens, no animals to really hunt, that means that starvation was around the corner. And unfortunately, some of them had to resort to cannibalism. And in Native American folklore, once you choose to do this, you will lose your soul, sacrificing your soul to quench your hunger. And instead, you become a bloodthirsty, ravaging monster whose hunger is endless. And the Native Americans didn't describe the wendigos as having a skull or being animal-like. They described the wendigo as a frail monster, which its skin was pale as snow, furless with super long limbs, making it super agile, meaning it could chase down almost any prey. This is what the wendigo really looked like. I gotta say, this version of the wendigo is so much more scarier than the modernized wendigo. Like, it's so uncanny. There's something about it that if you see this in the woods, you know, it's gonna be a lot scarier than a decaying, crippled creature. And there have only been a few modernized depictions of the wendigo that's actually accurate, and that's in Until Dawn and Fallout. These guys did the wendigo justice. Alright guys, now it's on to our next folklore, or our mythos, whatever you guys want to call it, right? Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Modern day representation of this creature is very sexualized and over the top. Vampires are blood-sucking monsters. Most of the reason why we have the wrong depiction of vampires nowadays, mainly because of things like Dracula and the Twilight. Ladies, no more fantasizing about vampires, because I'm going to expose them for what they really look like. The first ever account of vampires dated all the way back in ancient Greek. That's pretty old. And vampire accounts didn't come in England until the 1700s. Vampires are described to look like humans, with pale skin and red eyes, with sharp fangs in order to drain blood from their victims. But this is not true at all, guys. While it is true that both vampires are undead in modernized and folklore, the way they kill their victims are pretty different. The folklore victims are described as being frail and drained, exactly like how you would see when vampires suck blood out of their victims. But the way that folklore does it is different. Vampires were believed to be undead, that just by being undead, they drain the lives of others by spreading the plague or other various diseases. Now, they don't suck blood literally just by being dead, and their presence alone in the ground kills other people. In folklore, instead of killing a vampire with garlic or sun, instead you would have to dig them up out of the ground, because like they're dead, so they're pretty much buried, right? Once you dig them out, in order to kill them, you would have to stab them with a stake or completely destroy the body by burning it or some other various means. This was believed to kill the vampires, because after that, nobody else really got sick. Vampires were described to look like regular humans pretty much, except that they were bloated. And their skin was not pale, but instead it looked bruised, like they got punched or beat up a bunch of times. And instead of wearing any fancy clothes, they just wore regular burial clothes. So, I'm sorry to ruin your moods, guys, but Robert Pattinson isn't a real vampire! Now, I have no idea how vampires went from this to this. The change is very drastic, and I'm guessing that this change only happened so that, I guess, making a vampire as the main villain of a story like Dracula would be more interesting than having them be dead the whole time and just digging them up and stabbing them. But I actually do like the change that they made to a vampire. But is it true? No. But is it cool? Yes, our final and last folklore takes us to Puerto Rico. This folklore takes place in 1995. A farmer comes outside to feed his cattle. He grabs the feed and then walks over to him. But something is strange. For some reason, only half of his cattle came. The rest of them are just laying down sleeping. This is off, so he decides to go inside and check on them. But when he finds them, they are drained, soulless. They look completely frail. On their neck is 2 holes. That is probably where they were drained from. Now, determined to figure out what killed his cattle, he decides to stay up. He stays up the whole night, and soon he's about to fall asleep. But his dog begins barking profusely, like something dangerous is out there. He grabs a light and he shines, and there it is, El Chupacabra. Now, modernized chupacabra looks like this, guys. It looks like a dog, or literally a freaking dog, a hairless dog, okay, with sharp fangs. But that is the American version, right? The Texas version of the chupacabra looks like this, and the actual Puerto Ricans look very different. Now, looking at its modernized version, it's pretty much just a hairless dog with big fangs, right? Now, what if I told you it's a biped? It stands up on 2 legs, and instead of being a dog, it's more reptilian-like. And it had big bulging alien eyes with freaking quills on his back. I have never seen anything like this before, guys. It's almost outrageous, right? This is like something that came from outer space, not something that like Mother Nature would born. But nonetheless, this really is the first-hand account of the first chupacabra ever. Guys, it is suspected that the original chupacabra depiction was probably heavily influenced by the early 2000s sci-fi. Things like Man in Black and other stuff like that. So, we don't know if the farmer is crazy or not, pretty much. But there is no denying, this is the original and the real chupacabra. This one definitely surprised me more out of all the other ones. Alright guys, that's all I got for the video. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. And if you guys want to be part of the family, subscribe. Literally, you guys will come along with my journey. I will be making more content and trying to be more consistent. So guys, continue following me, continue staying hard, and whatever it is that you guys want to do, I believe that you guys can do it. Now, take care and God bless.